Let's do all of that again. Thanks, Joe. Sorry.
What?
Starting the car.
Okay, so when you turn the ignition on, you've got your park brake, which the handbrake's on, and that's the light. Then you've got the oil light, and you've got ignition light and everything else, so that's your ignition.
Handbrake's on.
Yeah, handbrake's on. You start the car, and your ignition, oil lights and all that go off, and everything else, all the other gauges come up.
Yep.
Okay, and now just turn the key off. And none of them change anything.
And keys turned off.
Keys turned completely off. Keys back on. Right. And the key is on now.
Yep.
And car never changed pitch, so it's not pre-igniting or cold dieseling. So if you come out here to so on, we have fun. We have fun each time trying to stop this vehicle, which is okay. You can turn her off. Which is pulling the coil wire.
Right, okay. Let's get thrown around a bit.
So the owner is not really impressed with the car not stopping. It's a hard job to
either stall it,
clutch stall it, or come out here and pull the bonnet and fart around and everything else. All right. So we just put the put that back in, and the same thing again if you want to just start the vehicle. Okay.
There you go, look.
Keys turned off, motor's going, never changed any pitch. It's not pre-igniting, it's not cold dieseling, it's not any of those things. All of those things are all right. And so on, and that stops the engine. And then you haven't turned it off, so don't turn it off for a second.
Yes, I have.
You turned it off?
Yeah.
Oh, you had it off.
Look, there it is, it's on now.
Okay. And
that was ballast resistor was there.
yeah, this is
No, other way.
Oh, the other way. Sorry, mate. Right, so that's your ignition as
Power
such.
to coil.
Power to coil. Yep.
You want me to turn it on?
Yeah, turned on. And car wants to go. And can you use your okay. And start car?
Again?
Yep. Turn key off. Still going. Car still goes.
Righto.
Okay.
So there's no power to the coil. It still wants to go.
Yep.
No power in the coil whatsoever.
Okay. Now. Right.
So we're on.
Yeah, now that's it.
Yep.
Now, I'll just run it past before this. Did you say that you actually pull coil wire in start or not?
Did I what?
Did you pull coil wire and then hit start and she fires or not?
This one?
Yeah.
No. It won't go.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
Just to prove it, pull it out.
And we'll give it a little bit. Okay. Alright. So we've got no other coils, we've got no other power wires, we've got nothing else. And so on that there. That is
it's just a ballast resistor.
No, it's not.
A
it's suppressor for the wireless.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and that suppressor is earth to body ground.
That's my earth there as well. That's the condenser, an inline condenser for all the rest of my running gear. It's stock standard, basically.
Yeah, but there's nothing else on the
coil.
Yeah, this here is your positive coil, which is ignition to battery to power.
Explain what the other wire is off the coil too. No, off the power. The one you just plugged. This one here has the electric fuel pump on it. There,
right, okay.
That's just the electric fuel pump. So if I turn it on,
fuel pump works.
Right, okay.
Okay, so that's your ignition power.
Yep.
And this here is just going to positive, and that's your positive coil. And without that on, no other car will start or do anything. And all you got on here is your resistor, suppressor for the wireless. Yep. And we can take that off as well, and she still goes on. Because there's nothing connected to it, it doesn't matter. And that's just ground, and there's nothing through there. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing come through there, and so on. You can take it off if you like, but it's not going to do anything, right?
You're right. Yep.
And then we just plug that in. Okay, starting car.
hands.
Yeah. The timing's not out, as you notice. She's not fighting herself. It's not too far retarded.
Unplug it while it's going. Just see what happens.
This.
Yep.
Stopping now.
Yep.
Okay. So you've got power ignition to coil.
Yep.
Just unplug it again and I'll just crank it and show him that it's...
And we just take that one again and we can just accelerate, go. And the belt needs something doing to it.
I just put a new belt on it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's working terrible.
Well, it's a good squealing belt.
Yeah.
Well, it squeals really loud.
Okay.
It's only because he's like giving it a bootful,
yeah.
But I don't want it too tight.
Yeah. And these here, you understand?
Yep.
These here are got...
That was where my ballast resistor was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was throwing power to my coil so I'd get the, the 90-degree spike.
Yep.
Yep.
Otherwise, take it off, there shouldn't be even a spike on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can't move them.
No, they're brand new.
Yeah. If we had a screwdriver or a piece of metal, we could actually show
The spark's shooting
that
out.
while the engine's going and everything else, there's spark going to the plugs. And why don't you call your dog, except it's deaf? Is that different?
Definitely.
And you got the gun?
Yeah.
All that's all we've done on this is
Joey stuffed another bloody vehicle up.
that's
Eh?
about it. Yeah, what we've got is just reversed polarity type and so on.
Right.
Change things. Yeah. I get bitten off these.
Yeah, well, just throw it up into the spark plug head.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, roll it back on itself. It should work.
Yeah, okay. We just have to hang on to the one what actually bites.
Just be careful.
Yeah, it's not gonna, that thing's not gonna, yeah, it's not gonna stay in there.
You get it?
The hole is a bit big for the,
Yeah.
I don't want it arcing, that's all. So,
Hit
you
with
wanna
it.
start engine.
Yep.
Okay, turn key off.
Keys off. Just to prove it.
Out.
Keys are out.
Yeah, well, there's a reverse charge coming somewhere because when you turn the key off, I got bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
Through the body of the car.
Yeah, turn the key back on.
Go on.
And don't get bit.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
There's nothing coming through the body of my car then.
You're going through, make sure all your leads the same, fuel ones and everything else. Very low spark there, isn't it?
Yeah, only because she's just a...
Turn the key off. Key off.
Yep, keys
Right,
off.
turn key back on.
The key's on.
Yeah, well, you must have touched it, did you?
I've got my hand on it.
Yeah. So there's a nice blue spark and everything else. Alright, so turned off. Can't. Okay. So he's turned off, turned on and everything. Now we pull this, which is the positive to the coil and everything. And throws a big good blue one, doesn't it?
Not a yellow one.
Right, okay.
Big one.
Want me to do it again?
Yep.
Okay, hardest.
Come in on it. Right, okay.
And there's no positive at all. It goes and we lose the spark. Did you notice? When she was going, we lose our spark. When you rev it up, there is no spark under the plugs.
Yeah, go again.
Watch the spark plug. Watch the spark.
Yeah.
There's an occasional spark, but it's a
only-
build-up.
Right.
It's like almost like static electricity.
So the engine hasn't got the spark going through the leads at the time that you start to rev it and the engine's going.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
No. Not at all.
It shouldn't work. Shouldn't even go.
Well, it's not going. No.
Well,
it's definitely not going.
Technically, it's not going, but it does.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest
and then
thing.
This in here, we just plug that in, and you want to go around to the ignition and everything else, and you'll just restart that again, and then turn the key off, which you just witnessed.
Yep.
And okay,
Oh, you can do it. Actually, you do it.
Oh.
Just to prove that I'm not pressing any buttons.
Somebody's having a lend to me.
Okay.
I'm turning it on.
Now, watch your dash lights.
Yep.
Okay, now start. And
Turn the key off. No, you're on AC there, in the middle there. You go. Pull the key out.
Ignition is turned off, as we know, outside and everything, and there's nothing through.
Not bad, eh?
Okay. I'll pull the coil wire to shut it down.
Yep. Yep.
Now, did you want to get a look at the amps as well while it's going? Just to prove that I'm actually running the car normally.
Right, okay.
My amp meter actually says, 13.5 volts.
Yep.
And then you can look at it when we pull the plug, just to see where the voltage is.
See if it's still in operation.
Mm-hmm.
You got that in there? Okay.
Behind the key here, first
Yep.
one. Alright. Normal operation.
Yep.
Comes up. Has it come up?
No, it's sitting at about 0.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just reach around and pull my choke up a bit just to get the revs up. Right next to this, yeah. Right, let it jump up.
Yep.
Alright, watch.
Yep.
Keys out.
Yep.
Still going.
Still producing a charge.
Still producing charge. There you go. Righto.
So,
You want to shut it down for me?
and you got to pull the coil wire. Okay.
Now, pull the positive off.
Yeah. Well, did you want to look at that on camera first?
Yep.
You stick it over the bonnet. I'll pull the positive wire. You there?
I'm there.
Here is our main positive wire. There is no others to the
Righto.
coil.
Positive wire's disconnected.
Okay, and do you want to look at the
Amp meter?
Yeah.
meter?
You want to
Yeah.
just touch the accelerator for me? You
I'll
wanna...
work the accelerator and go.
Yep. Good one.
Weird, eh? Does my head in.
The belt didn't slip so much then.
No, that's why it kept going.
Yeah.
It was slipping on the alternator when it wasn't going. Like it was revving it and you could hear it squealing and it just wouldn't keep going.
Right.
So when it stopped squealing and he was revving it, my hand was off the key. You got that, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it was going.
To just the one other thing, the only thing that anybody could see if you think that you're doing anything is
This
the
one.
suppressor.
That one there is a suppressor.
No, that's on the negative side to the points, and there's no power to that from the battery.
Oh, righto.
Okay?
Yep.
So we're looking at the ignition side of this car, which is the positive to the coil, isn't that right?
That's my
With the
aftermarket
key
taco.
turned on and the key turned off is supposed to start and stop your car.
That's my aftermarket taco. So if they ask what that is, that's just the taco
No, that's
wire.
taco and it's on the negative side.
Yes.
Okay, so the only other thing you got on here as anything as a positive is you've got the suppressor.
Yep.
Can we take the suppressor off in 2 seconds? Just
Yeah,
that.
just a bolt screwdriver in on the firewall.
Yep.
Well, look, a suppressor doesn't do anything,
Nah.
and it's back
It's only
onto
a
earth.
one-way
I know what a
circuit anyway.
suppressor.
It's
It's
back
only
onto.
one way.
It's screwed onto the earth.
Yep.
Okay, see that? Screwed onto the earth. It's going nowhere else, and you have for your wireless. You have the suppressor on the positive side of your coil for your wireless.
Right.
And that's just earth, whatever. Anyway.
I mean, we can disconnect the whole coil and it won't go.
Yep.
Take all the wires off, it won't start.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah. But the thing is that as we're revving it up, we seem to lose our power. Our spark jumping into the coil leads, which means that the coil is somehow losing its power. And the more revs and your engine's still going, you're losing your coils, spark and everything else, and the engine is still smooth as anything and still revving.
Yep.
Which is a little bit different. So this one here is somehow firing without the spark going into the coils.
Yep.
And without the actual positive battery, which is starting and stopping any other vehicle that you possess.
Needs a battery to go.
Yeah,
Just needs an electrical.
yeah. Well, this one here, if there was any way of turning this engine over without the battery in there, crank handle or some other device, this one here will
Or we could
still
tow
go.
it.
Yes, yes, it will go when I tow.
Tow start.
Yep, it does.
You take the battery,
Take the battery out,
Yeah.
pull it, she'll start.
she'll start and she'll run the same as anything else, and you can turn that ignition key off or
Yeah.
on or anything, it makes no difference.
Yeah. If I got the ignition key off and I get push started, it'll start.
Right.
It's a real bummer around here. It's Wardell.
Bit
Yeah.
flat, eh?
No, neighbours,
Yeah.
Yeah.
steal cars.
So anyway, this is only the...
What, all my relation, mate? They come visit?
doesn't matter. This man's not going to give his name or anything else or whatever, but he's just Phil will do. Was that alright? Phil was playing, and I come down and we had a look under the bonnet and checked a few things, and then we have this occurrence happening now. And he's pissed at it because he wants to put it back so he can turn it off inside the car, because the car gets
Yeah,
knocked off around here easy.
that's a worry, isn't it, though? You can't turn the key off.
And so on, and
So what did dirty your fuel economy?
Actually, I'm getting better fuel, way better fuel economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a half a tank. I get 70 kilometres for like a fingernail width.
Yeah.
Tiny little bit budge. I had a fuel hole in the fuel tank, so I only filled it up to halfway, and I can drive around and drive around and drive around and drive around and drive around. I can go to Lismore and back 5 times.
Right.
So by doing this is giving him better economy, but it's no good because he's got a lot of thieves around here. He's going to lose his car one day.
Yep.
And so on, and you can't shut it down, you can't stop it. They can start it without the ignition, they can't stop it with the ignition.
They can start it without the key in it, basically, if they push start, but they can't start it without the key, without the starter motor, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. And they could start it if the battery was even taken out of the vehicle, which is a pain in the push to this guy, because even with no battery in there, if they want to push it like they do around these places to knock them off, down the road, push them and jump in.
Push them down the road and jump in and then drive away.
This will drive away. And he can, mate, the way it's going, he could take his rotor button, he can take his distributor cap, take all those, and she won't go. I mean, she'll go. So
She'll
that's a
still
pain
go.
in the push.
Yeah.
And you can see there that as she revs up and goes smoother, she loses the spark to the
coil.
spark plugs
And the coil,
from the coil, distributor, and so on down, and still going.
Yep.
And he would like to pay to have it put back the way it flipping was, so he could turn it off. But I called him and I said, please don't do that just yet till we can...
Yeah, wait until
Okay.
we come down and have a look. Good one.
So that's about what we got happening and everything else, which is a little bit different than most other things.
So how did you come up with this one, Joe?
No.
Come
A
on.
bit asked.
Come on.
I can't say anything either. I've worked it out, but I'm not going to say anything, so I can't.
It takes a little bit of talking between us, and we really don't...
All right.
We're not...
You can't find it with an amp meter, trust me.
Can't find it with an amp meter?
Nope.
Okay.
You can't find it with a test light. You can't find it with anything, can we?
No.
Okay.
Done it all. Went through the whole thing, pulling plugs, doing the whole thing.
You even pulled the alternator and swapped everything in there. You pulled wires, swapped wires, and
Swapped
everything.
alternators.
Yeah.
So,
and you stuffed you flattened the battery, didn't you, by swapping a wire?
The other day. Flattened the battery dead by putting it onto the key, so when I turn the key off, there's still power going through it, and it just drained itself.
Right.
Even,
He hooked it up wrong, in other words, and he flattened his battery and stuff so he had to put it all the way
So it was,
back again
how
the way.
quickly did it flatten the battery?
overnight, 12 hours plus.
12 hours plus and dead as.
Dead as a doornail. Zero.
Okay.
And, then
And
it
no
only
lights.
took 20 minutes.
So Joe, were you playing with the starter motor?
Nothing.
I'm not supposed to tell you what I
Oh, right, okay.
Nothing was played with. Nothing.
All right.
I had it happen to me. I had the battery go dead on me once, and I push started it, and it just fired up straight off the bat. You know, I only rolled it out of a service station, pushed it myself, jumped in, popped the clutch, and bang, instant.
Yeah.
Even with a dead flat battery.
Your charging system will recharge all that system anyway, but you don't know how long it took for that battery to go dead flat because you were asleep, weren't you?
Yes.
Oh, you
I
weren't sitting
came
away.
out at about 10 o'clock in the morning to jump in and click, nothing, not even a light.
There's
not
a
even,
doornail, and it took about, 20 minutes to fully charge it again.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
The battery is, as you can see, brand new.
and at the present moment, hooked up originally as it's supposed to be, that battery don't go flat.
No,
She
not now.
stays there, and she's
now.
charging, and so on like that, but all it is this other thing, which is,
That's my headlights on set of
Relays.
Relays.
Yep.
and
that's all.
I've got a redundant alternator high tension wire. That's it. just redundant because I'm out in the bush for my job. So if this one, the fusible link, goes, I've still got a backup to keep going.
Yep.
And if this one goes, I'm stuffed because they're both fusible. You know, they both go and
No, you
flog
just
it.
cut the wires and twist them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all. As a standard vehicle and everything else, the polarity has been swapped around somehow. We both have worked it out.
And if you swap
We're
it
not
around,
telling.
you will blow headlights, you will blow gauges, you will blow everything because I've already done that.
If you
I blew
turn your
headlights.
Well,
alternator to
your
the wrong
headlights
way.
shouldn't blow by changing the polarity.
No, which changing polarity's fine. But if he changes the alternator around to try and figure out whether the
compensate it,
alternator's got any fault in there, he blows everything because he's done that and he had to buy new ones, right?
That's why all these are brand spanking new.
Okay.
Because it's not wrong. It's not hooked up wrong.
Okay.
Trust me. Search the net. High and low, mate. Got wiring diagrams out the wazoo. I've got books from alternators to starter motors to everything trying to find out why the bloody thing won't stop. And nobody on the internet can tell me how to stop my truck.
And then the other thing,
They even
Can
say...
I put your face on?
No, please
Okay.
don't.
No, it's okay.
the other thing
That's what I'm
is,
asking.
the other thing is too that it's not that they're not stopping. It's the how come it's going again without the flaming, the positive wire connected to the coil, which is your ignition from your battery, which is every other car, and that's how you stop every other car. And this is wired exactly the way any other car should be.
Every other
They've
car should...
always been wired like this and used to stop and start, didn't they? That's it. Close enough?
Rough enough for the bush?
Yep. So,
Thank you.
and all the rest, everything's
Is
fine.
this going to go on the net, is it?
It goes into my file at the moment.
At the
We're
We're
present
playing
moment,
with all of the JSL
Oh, righto.
format.
at the present moment, Peter's going to give us a disc of this, aren't you?
I shall. Yes.
I need
You'll get
to own my intellectual property.
That's it.
Really, the FTA is going to screw me for every cent they can. So, I want...
So this guy here wants an original
Yeah.
with nothing cut and shut.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
would
don't
like
cut and shut on it.
Right. And I want
fades,
a
no
original
nothing.
cut and shut. And you would prefer as something that is not sold as a item of sellable.
Yeah.
It's not being sold anyway.
I don't want it to be downloaded off the internet. They can watch it, but I don't want it downloaded.
Yeah,
Because
they can
will...
always download it.
You can actually stop them from doing that.
Well,
block
I've
on the
even seen them
protocol.
on put file where they can still get into it and
Well, they
crack
can
it,
record it by video, but they can't record it
Yeah.
by download.
but they do.
So you
They
didn't
put another... Anyway, it's not going on the internet at this stage. It's being looked at.
you didn't
by
put
you
this
and-
man's face on?
No,
Okay, that's good. I just told him I'll tell
I've
you.
seen his
face
hands.
is-
That's it.
told you that his face is not going on.
Yeah.
He won't be attached that way, and
Basically, there's nothing I haven't changed. So if somebody wants to go on the internet and get a schematic wiring diagram for a Suzuki 1982 model
Sierra.
997cc motor,
Yep.
and get the wiring diagram and try and reproduce this experiment, it will not work.
yeah, forget it.
It will not work.
He's just tried to do that and refix this and
Refix
rewire it and do everything else. Hook
it
it all
won't
up,
work.
and the only thing he done was cross wires and blew all his lights and
And flatten
everything
the
else.
battery.
Right. Okay.
So he put it standard, and this is what he's got happening. So we both know, us two here, both know exactly what's wrong with it and how to overcome it and how to make him turn the vehicle off and on again.
Yep.
But at the present moment, it would have been that, only I asked him personally, nothing. He thinks it's what's there has to be worth something, and but he wants to keep it pretty well to himself as well as such, so it's not a sellable.
The idea, the what's going wrong. I know what's going wrong, but I can't just sort of like tell anyone.
We're not gonna.
Nah.
Don't have to.
Not gonna.
All right. Magic. Thank you very much, Phil. Thanks, Joe.
All right, you're off.
So it's not just plain old water and
Pull that
crap.
aside and-
Different oil.
Oh, you haven't got oil in the sump.
I've got a little bit. Ooh.
So he's got coolant, he's got oil. He's
Love
got
the radiator core.
Yeah.
So you reckon Susie would get you near one of them, wouldn't you?
This is just a dual battery setup. People will recognise this. I had a dual battery in here.
Yep.
Because, like I said, I was having problems.
You're out in the bush.
Yep. So I didn't want to stall, but now I know I can just...
You don't have to...
I don't have to worry. I just get out and give it a kick and she's off. She's going.
And they're not connected at the moment anyway.
Nothing's connected.
Right.
And there you go. You can see that goes all the way across to the headlight relays.
Yep.
Like I said, too redundant for the bush. Alternator cables.
Yep.
Righto.
And follow this if you like. Spark plug lead into Dizzy, out and down to leads.
Just to prove there is nothing different about the Dizzy. There's your coil. I mean your
distributor cap.
Distributor
button.
Yep.
The wire to the coil.
One wire.
One wire.
Yeah, that's all there is.
All points.
And that one wire goes around and goes onto the negative side of the coil. There's no secondaries coming into the...
There it is there.
Right, no secondaries coming into your distributor or anything else from any other place anyway. Okay, dirty as buggery as typical.
Yep. So it doesn't self-clean, huh?
Yeah,
No.
sand eaten. Yeah. That'll do. Shut it down at that. That's enough for anybody. And you can go back to
Working.
doing whatever you're doing. And here's your... Thanks, Phil.
So you reckon?
Say when?
When?
When? In the Suzuki. You just missed that on tape and everything. Turn the distributor 180 degrees out. Start the vehicle, drive it, it still goes and everything else at 180 out. Power on down the road, got to 100 k's and everything else, still going and accelerating up, but if you back off, you just missed it. He had to weld it back up because he didn't have another one. Blew his muffler to smithereens. 180 out, engine still starting, running, turn the key off, she still wants to keep going. Everything else the same as you just seen, but is that what you just said too?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
That's what he just said. And I was here when he done the muffler and everything else and so on. That was on here the other week.
Yeah.
And he's had to weld the muffler up because he didn't have another one. But Dizzy pulled out, turned around to see what will happen and everything else with what's occurring. And so on, 180 completely out and still doing 100 k's an hour and backed off, and then she went kaboom.
Right.
Wasn't the timing out, it was still starting and running.
Just fuel in the exhaust manifold. That lit up again.
Probably shouldn't have been there, maybe.
No.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe, who knows.
Righto.
Anyway, that's a bit of extra, that's all.
Thanks, Joe.
That she'll still run 180 out.
Yep. Appreciate it. Rightio.
Going. Just thought we'd describe what happens in a coil for the people who don't understand it. Of the idea of that Suzuki. You have your normal cars will start off the key, which is a positive going down to the coil. In the coil, you've got a primary and a secondary winding, and that sets up electromagnetic field, and the AC high tension wire spark what comes out the top of the coil, it goes down to the spark plugs and then jumps across the spark plugs, converts back, but that isn't the positive or the negative charge or the spark being used up. It's a 90-degree spike, if you understand that. You've got a positive and a negative, and what happens is the positive from your battery to your key to your positive side of your coil, that normally shuts down engines. That goes through, round the windings in your coil, and then it comes out the other side. On the earlier cars, comes out the other side, and it's negative. So that goes back down into ground. Okay, the negative side of the coil comes out of the block. There's the spark in your points comes out of the block. It goes through the points. It goes through the condenser. It goes up into the second winding in your coil. Makes up the your electromagnetic field with positive and negative to set up that field. It goes back out. The negative goes back out and up the positive wire. Okay, and you end up with the points on the negative side, and the points on the negative side being broken collapses that field and gives you that pulsed AC, a 90-degree spike AC field. Now it's not positive and it's not negative. It's attracted, as we showed you on the tapes before, it's attracted to positive and it's attracted to negative. Okay, it goes back in itself in the coil. You can put on the positive or the negative side of the coil, it'll go back to there. Don't affect the running ability of the car. Goes back into the battery, positive and negative, doesn't affect that. Goes into the gas in the battery, don't blow that. Goes into all the other system in the car and everything, petrols, electrics, alternators, everything. It doesn't affect them and doesn't blow them, doesn't even blow computers. Alright, so, but what we've done is, what you've seen down there and everything else, is we've totally cut that positive side, disconnected it from the, in one side we turn the key off inside the vehicle, which is actually shut down that positive side. Okay, and then the vehicle doesn't change pitch, we aren't pre-igniting, and we're not cold dieseling. Okay, the engine still stays running identical the same. So there's a different concept of pre-ignition, which is the timing too far advanced, she gets too hot, she runs on when you turn the key off. But they run rough as guts when that happens. Cold dieseling, your timing is too far retarded, you turn them off and they do the same thing. And they run rough and everything because your timing's out. Okay, but in this situation, what we just did, we changed the whole field in the engine. Okay, and what's happening is you turn the key off, so on, you pull that wire on the coil, don't have the wire on the coil, which is the positive, you're not setting up the electromagnetic field as we understand. We're not getting the same frequencies coming out of the coil, we're not getting the same things going down into the distributor, we're not getting the same things going down into the spark plugs. Okay, so for cutting one side, if you're sort of checking on it, what are you doing to the actual, or what have we been doing to the actual electromagnetic field and the frequencies of that 90-degree spike coming out of the coil? Because it's all different, you understand? It's all different. And when you can totally pull those wires off, and then if you check it with the wire completely off the positive side of the coil and start the engine, and we pull back the leads at the spark plugs, when the motor starts to get up in some revs and run smooth, we don't find the spark going down the spark plugs. So you've shut all that side down. So what's actually running the motor? Because timing's still right. Distributor doesn't get touched. She starts fine, runs fine, revs up, does everything. So we ain't got a problem with that. It's just we've set up something else different. Okay, and it's a little bit different than all the other concepts. So if anybody's got any view on that out there and so on like that about what we've done, wouldn't mind sort of inputting to Peter if you like. You know, answer back or so on like that if he wants
they
it.
can give you a cheek, Joe.
Don't give me any of it. It's just the only reason we're asking these questions and everything else to the people is we found some things what aren't, well, they're standard, but they're not standard to the vehicle's running ability at the time. And what you think makes a motor run, or what you've been told makes engines run and everything else. But we found some other systems, other things what make engines run, and then there's a whole new line of science or concepts or so on like that comes into it when you do that. We're just showing a couple of different things we found, that's all.
So Joe, why did you start with the Joe cell? Just something out of the blue. How did it begin? What did you do?
Why did I do?
What did you do?
Or why did I do? Petrol got too dear and government lied. They said petrol prices wouldn't go up. You know, when I'd done that and everything else, I hadn't got a clue what I was talking about. I never knew about hydrogen and oxygen, Yule Brown, gases. I didn't use the gases. It's just hooked it up. I didn't even know it was going to run. I'm a mechanic, hooked it up to a silly place where it shouldn't even been hooked up to, but it run. And then from there it's just...
So what was it? What was actually running?
Oh, mate, it's a frequency.
So it's electric?
Firstly, what we're showing you now and everything else is... It's... Well,
is it?
No, I can't say electric because what you understand about electrics is...
well, we don't. We understand what dog shit feels like when we tread in it, Joe. So we're right.
All right, okay. Well, yeah. Pre-ignition is only a frequency, different thing. Cold dieseling is only a frequency. Your timing is only a frequency. Your whole engine will shut down and won't get a kick out of it just by a condenser. You have a faulty condenser or pull the condenser screw out. mate. Everything else is the same in your car, but you don't go anywhere.
And you've still got spark.
It's still got spark in
With the condenser
yeah.
not being earthed.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
Yeah, your car don't run. Pull it to 1,000 mile an hour, it won't go. You don't get a kick out of it.
Now,
So
what happened when you had a vacuum lockdowns, where you actually had motors locked up?
Oh, you're complete. Yeah, you can't call them hydraulic locks.
No, they're not.
They're not hydraulic locks. You can get air locks.
Are they
you can get
static locks?
Static.
Is it static frequency?
I don't think it's static frequency either. See,
Right, okay.
static is pulsed. So what would happen then is the thing would actually pulse and move. You
Maybe
wouldn't
not.
get- maybe not.
Don't know.
I
Just
think
trying to
you've
work
got
out what happened when the diesel's locked up.
Oh, so you can release them with
Yeah.
just one little spark in the reverse mode,
Yeah.
suppose. But if you're looking at the spark in the motor, people think that spark, that pulse spark, fires the engine by the points. It's a 90-degree spike off the coil. It's not positive or negative, as we discussed. So it's not your battery charge. It's not the charge what's in the battery. It's a different thing which has been created. Anyway, so if you're looking at Commodores for a second and everything else, getting back to it, Commodores use something called waste spark management. We discussed it before. We only use the negative side of our coil to give our AC, that AC high tension spark down to our leads, down to our spark plugs. Then it jumps across the spark plugs, and the engine won't fire unless the spark plugs are there to convert it back to DC charge. That's what the spark plugs are there for, because that AC spike don't fire the engine.
Yeah.
It's got to convert back across the plug and everything else, and it jumps from that high tension centre lead across to ground negative, which is the other side of your spark plug, converts back to there, then your engine fires. Okay? But we can make that spark jump outside the engine, and your motor still fires even with a faulty spark plug. Stuffed up plug and everything, she fires on the inside of the engine.
Yeah.
But you go back to the original old, very, very, very early model flaming cars. Not many people know about them. I was just telling Peter here, I just witnessed one the other day again. DC magnetos, not AC, DC magnetos. They took a wire out of it and screwed it anywhere on the block, and the flipping engine fires from a 1 cylinder up to 12 cylinders or more. The engine fires, and there's no spark plugs. There's no distributors, no points, no condensers, and if you touch that lead from the DC magneto, you feel nothing.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing there because it's flatline DC. All the rest of them that they made for putting batteries into cars and starting them that way and putting headlights on and everything else, those maggies are AC. You get kicked off the buggers, just like electric fence. And that then has to have a distributor, points, condenser, and then, goes down and has to have a spark plug to jump across the spark plug to convert it back to your DC.
And they even have to have resistors on the coils and
all
all sorts of
those
stuff.
different things, all these static charges and everything else, all these different things going on.
So what is it? What does a Joe cell do?
I actually believe it's just a frequency device,
Right. Okay.
and it's interacting with...
And will it go through a blind or a bolt on the block?
it'll go through everything. Goes through anything and everything.
So you could actually plug it into the tail light at the back?
Yeah, well, without going
Being rude.
without going too far and
On the
everything
bumper.
else, yeah, without going too far and everything else on that, there was this guy who's been playing with it. I won't mention his name too much, but he's been playing with it for a long time. He's written books about me and released them without my consent. He's selling videos everywhere. Not my consent.
G'day,
but anyway.
Alex.
Not Alex. I know Alex.
Oh, right.
No. Ian Haken, actually.
Oh, yeah, I thought about Ian, yeah.
Ian and everything else come up with cells and everything, put them on the cars and work for him and everything else. He actually got worse miles per gallon heading from Melbourne up to here. I went out and I took his cell, what didn't work for him, and I got him to sit in the passenger seat of a little Morris, and I told him to stick it on the the window winder handle. And when he stuck it onto that, nearly threw him out the back of the flame Morris. And when he pulled it back off again, flaming, she just died down and dead as a little Morris again,
Right.
Dead as a doornail. Stick it back on again, it's through the back.
So, Joe, this cell that's on the front of this van.
You want me to have a look at it?
No, don't look. Don't look. Whatever you do, don't look.
Yeah, I already described this one here a little bit to you in the past. I mean, I looked at it once. I didn't want to look at it.
No.
I looked at it once. So, and I've seen it from a long time ago.
So that's number one that was on the rover on the ground?
That's number one. That's the very first one that I ever put together. And hooked it up to the rover, which I'm supposedly known for, and so on. You want to know what's wrong with this one now, Pete?
Yeah, you better tell us. Why won't it work at the moment, Joe?
I told Peter this in the past and everything else. What we've been showing you on the under the bonnets of cars and so on is that our electricities, like that AC and everything else, and we don't see the DC, we're only seeing the spark one, it actually is jumping through what you would call all insulators. It's going through radiator hoses, it's going through 5 times insulated wires, not affecting the cars or anything. You've seen all that, eh?
Yeah.
You can get this stuff off Peter before, we're not going into it now. It goes through every single thing. Now DC does the same thing, okay, and Peter here believes that he only has negative connected to this cell.
Yeah, but we won't discuss all the others.
Yeah, so
Well, I've only got negative connected, everything else is shorted out.
that'll do. But I just described him without going too far. He doesn't want to. I just picked up that he wanted it analysed, but now he don't. The thing is that these things, strap ties and everything else to the outside of this vehicle, are wrapped around the cell to hold it on. They're black plastics and rubbers and things like that, you know. Your zip ties. We've already shown that these zip ties and everything carry current.
Yeah.
The outside of your vehicle, just to describe this to a few people again if you like, England uses positive earth and their cars don't rust and they throw salt on the road and everything else to start better, go better, okay? We use negative earth to the body out here and our bodies rust. And we've got to use chokes and we've got to do all these things and everything else. And you're going to get done again here, here comes a bus.
Right, okay.
Okay, so what's really happening there, what we don't understand is we're just letting the bus go through for a second. He hadn't got 2 inches either side.
Oh, he has. We've given him 3 inches at the back.
Okay. Yeah, hang on a second. Now I know why they were whinging.
Mate, they didn't even knock any paint off his bumper bar.
What people don't understand and what's wrong with this, he's hooked up negative to the centre, but he doesn't understand that the outside of this vehicle isn't really negative. What actually happens is the negative charge on this body here goes through the middle of the metals, all the middle of everything in this car, but on the outside of the mudguards and the inside of the mudguards rust, and rust only comes from the oxidisation. Oxidisation's only created by oxygen and so on, and oxygen only comes by the positive, and what's happening is that positive is stacking on each side of the outside of the vehicle and negatives running up the guts, so you got this field effect of positive. So he's hooked up positive to the outside of this cell by a connection like we showed under the bonnet of all these other cars, that it's arcing through.
Yeah.
It's carrying a positive charge through it, and then what's occurring now is he hasn't got a neutral cell. He's got a cell which is positive and negative, so it's going to produce hydrogen oxygen. If it's producing the hydrogen oxygen, it ain't big enough to run a car. And the other thing is the negative goes through this cell. Other people play with them too, and the negative's going through the cell like the coil, and then we're coming out and going into the positive. Okay, back into the body outside. And the outside positive charge is going through those zip ties and everything else, rusting all the outside things on it, going through and end up putting a positive charge on the inside of the cell and going back up the negative. Just like a coil. Okay, and that's what's occurring there. And then you don't get what we would call, what we're after off the top of this is, the top of the cell should be giving out a, like the coil, a independent spike frequency. The gases have got nothing to do with it. And the only reason we test the gases is to find out whether or not you've got any energy stored inside that bubble.
Oh.
You understand? As whatever, whether it's electrical or energy or whatever it is, but we only light the bubbles sometimes until we figure out what kind of bubbles they are, so that we can figure out what kind of energy that we got stored in the bubble, or whether it will hold energy in the bubble, which means that if it holds the energy in the bubble and the bubbles are lightable after 1 or 2 or 3 days or more, then it's stored this energy, it's making it and creating, it's not drawing it or discharging it. So that we know that we've got something there as a potential, like a battery, potential storage of energy. We've got it there, and then you don't pull it off with wires or anything else like that, that this potential energy is released into the atmosphere. That's why people have been checking this everywhere to find out whether, because some people get sick around these cells when you turn them on, and some people feel great. Now, with radiation, which is produced through some cells, it can make you sick, it can give you cancers, it can kill you. And some people have been affected by some of these cells that they put together, and it's doing the same effect. So they've run meters over them to find out whether they're producing radiation, which is radiation from electromagnetic fields, is virtually a 90-degree spike, which is dangerous to us. And you can pick up those frequencies and everything transferring through the atmosphere. You can go with a neodymium magnet and go into any power socket or any transformer or anything else, and any motor or any fan or any electrics, and just hold them out from it, turn the things on. Transformers don't even have to turn them on, but the flaming magnet in mid-air a long way away will vibrate like buggery. Ferrites don't pick it up as well. But science got meters for those things to tell you how safe and how much EMR radiation you got, whether it's safe for you.
Yeah.
And flaming neodymium magnet just picks it up out of mid-air and vibrates in your hand.
Yep.
And that's telling, if you feel the vibration, she is 20 times over the legal limit of safe.
Yep.
And that's your normal electrics in there.
That's just your power points, isn't it?
Yeah, power points and transformers and everything else, and they're all unsafe, and all motors, when they turn them on and everything, the whole lot, they all do that. But people have monitored these to find out whether there's radiation coming out. And the funny thing is, paperwork and documents are there, Peter hadn't got yet, and everything else he's going to get real soon, because they're being sent to me, is showing that the damn things don't do that. What's doing this isn't radiation cancer causing problems. It actually isn't that whatsoever, that the cells are releasing as an energy. So we're actually hooking these things up to the vehicle and so on like that, and I believe it's not the gas. You haven't got enough hydrogen oxygen gas to actually fire the engines, and we proved in a battery the AC spark won't detonate it anyway. Don't know why you even trying to put into engines, because it doesn't light them. Okay, so you're setting up a frequency, and that frequency is, well, why you take your distributor to 47, 50, 80 degrees advance, which is a rover. You try that with petrol or LPG or flaming methanol or anything else, 80 degrees advance, you can't start and run too well.
They don't what? They don't start. They won't run.
Not too well. You're going past the point of fire. Anyway, so when you've got these cells and everything else, and you're not putting the gases into the engines and so on like that, this is where you take your distributors to, and they start, boom, first hit. So that's only frequency. It's only setting up a new frequency, and you have to readjust your distributor to set up the rest of the engine to that frequency.
So with these computer model cars, Joe, that are out there at the moment, how's our way around that?
Computer model cars, timing has been set.
Yeah.
Totally set. So either you go get yourself a adjustable computer.
Yep.
Or there's another thing. What we're showing today when you work it out and everything else is there's other ways around it.
Yeah. Just disconnect altogether. Go back to one wire on the block.
Don't need it. You know? So
do we need one wire on the block? Or do we just go to... We're close.
Saying those things and everything else, you really shouldn't go that far.
All right, okay.
And you see, you shouldn't go that far. That people are seeing there that after running these cells, like a few others out there, like Peter's mate, I don't know whether you mentioned his name, a Scottish guy and everything else.
Oh, Mr. Jook.
Yeah, okay. I didn't say it. He hooks up a cell to his F100 truck,
F200, 250.
F250,
Two-wheel drive, yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
84
whatever.
model.
Stop with the technology and the too much info. Anyway, he hooks it up and everything else, and it's been known by him, he's said it plenty of times, that he can hook it up, run the vehicle and everything else, and then take the cell off. It takes him 3 weeks to set the distributor back. Because as he puts it on, he has to advance the distributor.
Yeah.
And then he can take the cell off. And then 3 damn weeks before he can bring that timing back to run on petrol air again.
Right.
Because he's run on petrol and air, but the Dizzy won't go back where it originally was. So he set up some new energy frequency field throughout the whole vehicle and the block.
Right.
And that's what's occurring in these. And what shouldn't be said is that after a while, it's been known to throw away the cells.
Yeah.
And start and run the vehicles without a cell. So then you can say it's not gas.
Yeah.
You're not running
Well,
the
it's
gas.
the actual engine becomes its
Becomes a
own,
different
own,
potential.
own energy.
Becomes a different potential and a different thing. So, and when you look at that, you're not producing the gas to go in the motor, you just set up a frequency again.
Yeah.
And that frequency changes all the atomics of all everything in your vehicle, right? So, and other people play with those things. So, that's
So
what's
is plastic still, or is it something different when you're finished?
occurring. Oh, when we're finished, I don't know. If you put into the water cells, in between these cells and everything else, plastic ain't plastic real long.
No.
Turns into black-green chewing gum. And it shouldn't with plain water and the small voltage that you put into it.
Yeah.
Scientifically said it can't eat it,
Yeah.
but it is.
So by just putting negative on, not negative external, positive like I have. On that
Negative
cell.
one is setting up. Well, once you just look at this tape and everything else first, and then figure out without one of these cells first, try and figure out how come that car runs, because the only wire connected is a negative, and that negative isn't to the battery, that's coming out of the block.
Yep.
Okay, you haven't got a connection back to your battery.
Right.
Except if you want to look at it as such, you got negative from the battery down to the body, and then somewhere through the body you got a distributor attached. You got a set of points coming off it from one side of it, the other side's moving.
Yep.
Then you got your condenser and then back up into the coil, but then this thing here ain't going back out of the coil when there's no positive connected.
Joe, you've really given us something to think about, and thank you very much for all your time.
Your tape's running out?
No, not at all.
Okay, you got to go.
I'm just going to give you a big wind-up thank you,
That's all
because
right.
you often don't get it. And I thought at least in the middle of the tape you should get it.
Oh, in the middle tape. No, that's okay. It's just, I'm not into look, I don't care about these things you want to know. It's just, I'm not interested. I'm not showing these. I'm not talking about them because I'm interested. I'm not getting paid for this stuff. I'm not interested in
Hang on, I've got to give you the 5 cents I promised you.
Anyway, it's just,
Here, look, he's been paid.
I'm not, I don't care. This stuff doesn't interest me. It might interest all you fellas looking at it, but I moved on. You know?
Good one. Yeah.
But I don't mind in some of these things, if we find these new things happening, I don't mind pointing them out. Okay, a little bit.
Yep.
But going back to running these cells and going back to things that I can get into deep shit for, I'm not interested in. I go out and pay petrol in my own car, and I don't have a car now, but my missus' car, we just go pay petrol when we don't have to. But save the hassles. Don't need them. Got another life going. But you fellas out there have a play. You're just looking at some other different things to,
Yep.
you know, to look at and get a concept. So I'm showing you these different things, like that air conditioning shutting down Pete's got there, you can show you.
Yep.
But they can't answer that one either. Why is it shutting down the motor with a computer without blood? Don't know. Why is this flaming car today going the way it was? Don't know. Yeah, sure, I know. But should I tell you?
Next edition. Next edition. We'll keep them guessing.
I
Joe.
might not want to. It's not the not wonder, it's just why don't you go and try to figure it out for yourselves, and if you come up with the answer, that's great, because when you've come up with the answers on these things which are standardly happening, you might get an answer for what's happening with these people with these cells. And then you might come up with something better than the cell to actually make the motors run without, because these seem to be a bit complicated for some people. And they probably are. Okay, but there may be a simpler device when you figure out exactly what makes them go.
Good one.
And
All right.
then you don't need these cells, you just make that energy field some other way. But this is what they're playing with now, this is what's out there, this is what they want to learn about, it's what they want to do, so I'm just giving you a few other little funnies to go with it. That's all.
Yeah, so why do we put air in our tyres, Joe? Jock didn't have to.
No. His vehicle sort of cleared the ground, didn't need them. Whatever that is, that's a frequency field. You can't say the gas lifted him up, can you? Maybe.
Well, we can, but would they believe us?
No, it's probably
Did you
wrong.
put your hand under the tyre?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah,
Passed your hand.
That, yeah. He was there, a few others are there. Starting the vehicle, run my hands, full hands, completely underneath the wheels and never touched the ground or the wheels. That was how far she was off the ground. Tractor on the back of the vehicle, she was off the ground. And then was able to drive, don't know how, but able to drive and turn corners on the road.
Yeah.
So answering that one, it shouldn't be on this tape, I suppose. Should be on the other one, but on something else. But if you only got this, you don't know about it. Well, I suppose you better chase up the other technology off Peter about the somebody about.
Blade me. Oh, you're nice.
I haven't got it. About the,
I wasn't there. I didn't
truck.
film it.
Well,
We'll have to go and talk to Jock.
there you go. I didn't say Jock.
You know, jockeys, the undies, yeah.
It gets back to you, Jock. Remember, I didn't say.
No, I've already said a yarn to Jock.
Yeah. So.
I Jock.
Other people had different effects and everything else. Like we just showed you some effects on this tape here. There's other things.
Oh,
out
by
there.
the way, he said to thank you very much for his knees, but would you mind going and fixing them again? He stuffed them up.
One's the limit. It's like me when I convert a motor. That's one only.
So why did you put a V6 in this heap that I'm driving? What was your...
Well, I bought it. I didn't really want it then, but I bought it. I saw it. It had a diesel motor in it, and the diesel motor had actually shit itself.
Right, okay.
Diesel motors are very dear.
Yeah.
I didn't have any diesel motors or anything else, and I couldn't afford that as such, and I was going to use this vehicle, which I never ever did.
Yes, we
And,
did. I've been
well,
bringing you
other
hay ever since.
Other people got off me straight away, but I put in because I had a heap of V6 Commodore motors and gearboxes and all that there. And I'm a mechanic, I do conversion, so that's what I did.
Good one.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. I'm going to love you and leave you.
Yeah, you got.
Thank you very much.
I just thought on the end of the tape, I thought I'd explain about, if you don't understand it, the running of a coil and what it does, and so on. So, and then go from there about when you're shutting down those fields. None of the other cars out there run without them.
Yeah.
So figure out where it's coming from, where's it going, and what's actually running the engine now. Right? And then I suppose you can go back and throw away distributors, coils.
Tyres.
Yeah, throw everything away then. And if you want to do it,
We
go
just
do
have to
that.
register our own self as a cell with a number plate on us or something, Joe.
Probably, because probably what you're doing then, even if you run a vehicle without petrol, shouldn't say that, without petrol and a different frequency the way it's been set up, you're probably breaking all the patents on the engine of the car and the components that are originally
That have
by
been
the
registered,
manufacturer.
yeah,
Registered
as part of their
manufacturer's
description.
Parts, yeah. And you've altered that, so you're really breaking the law. And if you're running out in the road...
But you're allowed to alter one of anything. You can change one of anything, Joe.
How many... One of anything,
One of anything. You're allowed to do that.
is that right? How many
Yeah.
times?
Well, if you like, you can do it as many times as you like. Just don't get caught.
Oh,
But you're allowed to do it once.
it's not the get caught bit. Well, if it's a get caught
Would you
bit,
want the legal opinion on that? Yeah. Well,
yeah.
there'd be some Irish lord that'd be able to tell us for sure exactly what would be the case.
Yeah. Even what we showed today in the Suzuki, I suppose, when you come down to it, shutting down the positive to the coil and turning the ignition off, is actually, if you want to look at it, that car has an electric solenoid on the carburetor. We didn't discuss that. And that electric solenoid does what?
Yeah, carry the current.
It carries the current, but does
Yeah.
what? What's it on the carburetor for?
Yeah. Well, it's meant to
Shutting
shut
the
off the
fuel
fuel off.
Shutting the fuel off to stop pre-ignition and running on.
Yeah.
Right? And when it shuts it down, your engine stops too.
And that didn't happen today.
No, the fella the other day with the key turned off and everything else drove a long way. Right?
So we got another problem.
Yeah, no problem. That wasn't supposed to be in there, but shutting that side of the ignition down stops the solenoid in the carburetor. So you check that out. you don't get the fuel going in the engine.
Oh, now you're worrying me, Joe. I mean, another one that would bug it up.
Yeah, something like that. Right. Anyway, get back to Pete if you got any ideas on it. Get back, and he'll get back to me. Other than that, don't call me. I'll call you.
What is it? We'll do it the next time.
Something maybe. Don't know about next time. We'll see. Good. Have a look at it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Joe.
All right, mate.
Good
See
talking
yous.
with you.
See you all.
Appreciate it.